Well, it's Friday. Friday evening. Big old rainstorm just went over. Whew. It's just been a busy day. It's been a busy week. Got lots of stuff done. I'm just kind of decompressing. It's been a big week. It's been a big day. It was a big weekend last weekend and the weekend before, and it's going to be a big weekend. I was trying to push ahead on the EMG, but in order to really actually get to work on the EMG, I had to reorganize the garage, which was all horrible, and it's something I'd never really worked on. It's just kind of one of those things you lived with. And then I was looking at it. It's a long story, and I'm like, the next thing you know, all of a sudden I'm finishing the garage, like finishing it. Like when this place was built in the early '70s, they just never finished the garage, and so now I'm doing that, and it's crazy. It's a ton of work, but well, anyway, it's Friday. Oh, and that means I just realized that I deleted the section with the wrist check, and I can't get it back. So I'm doing the wrist check again. I finally put down the Rolex, and I didn't do it because I wanted to put the Rolex away, but actually because I saw this, and I couldn't not put it on. This is a JDM Seiko 7548 7000. So no SQ logo on the dial, instead the resist text, and it has kanji English day wheel. Watch is completely original, right down to the GL83122 strap. The original owner, for whatever reason, put the forward one on upside down, and it's been molded like that for so long. I just keep it. So there it is. Beautiful, beautiful watch. Beautiful watch. It's exactly, look at the beautiful insert. It just melts my heart. Okay. Yeah, you know, I've had my Rolex on for a really long time, and I don't know. The combination, like I said, the combination between the original GL831 flat vent and just this being such an amazing, perfect tool watch. Had to watch it. Ryan Walters, which, coincidentally, that's who this watch came from. Congrats on getting down to the single digits in jobs. Thank you. Yeah, I'm down to 8 jobs, which comprises about, I think I've done 15 watches, 15, 16 watches, something like that. When I stopped taking work, which was in January of 2018, the number that people may remember is 193 jobs. Well, that was 193 customer jobs, not necessarily watches, just watches. So at that point, 193, I probably had easily a third more than that, just in extra watches, because watch shop wouldn't have just one watch, it'd have 2 or 3. I remember one guy had 8 watches, because they wouldn't ask, they would just send them in, and they would just appear. I must have had 300 watches or more in here. I still can't believe that I did that I looked at that. You know how I did it? I did it by not thinking about it, because if I thought about having to do that many watch jobs, I would have just lost my mind. And if you told me in January 2018 that I wouldn't take a new job again until maybe this year, I don't know what to think. Well, I mean, it's nice having, positive things said about one's work, so. Meltdown GRFX. Loved the show tonight, especially the time traveling aspect. Oh, is this about recreating the people's voices, the Val Kilmer thing? Well, if so, actually, I had a thought about it last night. This thing is an iPhone with biometric face recognition tracking and stuff like that, because this, of course, is an amazing tracking device, and it records everything, and it predicts everything. As we all know, if you're talking about, buying salsa in Cancun, you're going to start getting ads for salsa and vacations to Mexico. But I don't know, it's just wild. It's just crazy. But the thought did occur to me. You've got my voice. You have all of, all of my words and everything else like that from all these 1,400 videos. You also have all my biometrics from that thing, an actual 3D representation of what I look like when I'm moving. I think with those three things, you could craft a pretty reasonable facsimile. Watch nut. Don't pay attention to idiot comments. Love your channel. Been watching for years. Thank you. I appreciate that. One of sort of a side effect of my ADHD, because I have fairly serious ADHD, is that I have a hard time reading people, and so I have to I generally assume that people are being honest and straight with me, and so that means that I am perhaps more easily taken advantage of, because I believe people carefully and I listen to them carefully. So when anybody says something good or bad, I take it seriously. I read it and think about it and wonder, craft a response. So, thank you. You've been watching for years, really. There must be so many of you people out there who know my voice and I don't know who you are. So I'm sorry for that. But thank you for watching. It's just crazy. I'm like, I remember once, I was like, one of my friends from high school was like, oh, you're making videos. I'm like, it's just, I put out videos and some people watching. It's not a big deal. It's nothing huge. And Sabrina was like, your last video you put out like 3 days ago has like 1,600 views. And I'm like, okay. She says 1,600 people. That's a lot of people watching the videos. And that's true. Peter Campbell. Mitchell Arms made a Luger clone out of stainless. Oh, right, I was talking about reissues and the challenges of issuing a complete reissue of something. Luger was that's the thing, man. Stainless steel, though, did they feel that that was going to be enough to sort of overcome the fact that, in those days, you could get Lugers for a couple, $200-300. I bought a 1937 Luger with the holster for like $700, probably in the year '99 or maybe 2000. Was a long time. My current, because there's a couple things. I inherited a lot of firearms from my dad. 2, I am an American and I grew up in the West, and so guns are just one of those things. Though, when I was a kid in England, I used to go over to the farmer down the way, the Wrights, and he had big-ass shotguns in a cabinet right in the front hall. He pulled out 2 shotguns and gave one to me and one to his son. Had us load them up and sent them out in the fields to shoot at things with. I'd had 22 training in Boy Scouts, but that was it. Anyway, but my thing was history, so I'm not much of a shooter, plus loud noises bother me. But my Luger, the current one, I got some kind of crazy steel on it. How much did I pay for it? I think I got some kind of a crazy steal off of it because it was on an auction site, and the people who did the evaluation for the family selling it, because the grandfather had died or something, they didn't know what they were talking about. They said that the piece had been refinished and reblued and it was the wrong color. It was barely worn, absolutely a bring back, all matching, beautiful piece. And they were just wrong. I got it for maybe a quarter of its value. CMB. Hi Spencer, thanks for another video, and as always I appreciate your horological musings. Well, thank you. I'll work to try to make them correct. I recall you mentioning years ago that you had a tool that could repair the hollow crown tube on a crown that has an internally sprung stem fitted. I did? God, I don't remember that. The only thing I remember about being able to repair crown tubes is that I made a tool to help straighten bent crown tubes on 6309 divers. They have those long tubes, and if they get really bogged, they're bent. I did create a tool to go in there and support it so it can be regrounded. I also made a tool that helps me clear bunged up crown threads. I don't remember this, but maybe it'll come back to me. I have two of the upside down Arnie's, the H601 5480. For those of you who don't know, it's an Arnie. It was the next generation Arnie, but it was an H601, and instead of having the LCD screen at the top, it has it at the bottom. I have two of these that requires a fix for this part. It is the crown and the tubes. Oh yeah, the crown and the tubes for these, the crown and the stems for these things are those, the kind that Seiko does where they're built in the factory. Like you can't take the stem in or out or anything. Like a 007, an SKX, same thing. I have two upside down Arnies that require fixing to this part. The complete part is 60 E as in Edward, 31 N as in Nancy, S as in Sam 1, 60 E 31 NS 1, and yeah. I would need two similar type crowns to get parts from and thread the stems and use extension tubes with the tool to open and close the crimp tube. I'm sure it could be done. I've searched the world for this stems for many years and thought I tracked down one, but the availability was an error in the supplier's database. Haha, there probably is a bag of them sat in some dusty drawer somewhere. I have one in the bag, brand new. And if I remember correctly, that source may have had more than one. I'll have to check on that. The one I have here, it's in my restoration stuff. At some point, I'm going to need a crown. Some of those watches are going to come in, so it's the only one I have left. So I don't sell that part specifically, but I will make a note on this, and I will call and see if my memory's right. Yeah, I don't have a memory. I would love to be able to fix those, but the way that those crowns work, the way that they are, is they're not threaded in the crown. Your stem has a flat section instead of being threaded like a round, a normal stem all the way down. Instead of being threaded on the bottom, it has a flat section, and what the flat section does is it keys into a corresponding rectangular bowl in sort of a metal diddly that is kept inside the crown and on top of a spring, so it goes kabunka bunka bunka bunka. So when you screw it down, the stem can collapse into the crown. So those go in, and then it's crimped around that so the stem can't come back out again. But it's not a real tight fit. They tend to wear, and if you really honk on them, they'll break. So sucks, huh? This is 24/7 ADT dropping a knowledge bomb on me regarding the 1922 tariff schedule on watches, talking about watches, the movements are marked unadjusted or adjusted to blank positions, the number of jewels and crap like that. I believe many watches imported into the United States are unadjusted because of the 1922 tariff schedule on watches. That is also why so many vintage imported watches has 17 jewel movements. The tax ranged from $2.75 for an unadjusted watch up to $6.50 for a watch adjusted to 5 positions. Watches with more than 17 jewels were taxed at $10.75. I read this in a North American watch and clock collector's publication years ago. Not sure how it applies these days. I have to say, I mean, $10.75 in 1922, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, more than they were probably going to sell the watch for. That's crazy. So much things I don't know. I never would have known that if you hadn't given me that comment. Thank you. Michael Matera. Hi Spencer, love all the guitar talk. Very nice work on assembling that telly. I have to tell you, I winced and almost had to walk away from the video upon hearing the story of the butchery of a 62 jazz bass. Thanks again for the new video. They make my day when I get to watch them. That's nice to hear. Yeah. What was that jackass's name? Mark something? The yearbook he's in is right there. This is a trip. I haven't looked at this thing in a long time. Fort Collins High School, 1984. Wow, look at this. Look at all these people. Look at all these girls. I fooled around with her and her and her and her and Jennifer and her. Well, I had a lot of cute girls in my high school. Good times, man. Okay, let me find this dude's picture. I'm not going to waste too much more of your time here. I swear to God, and if necessary, I'll trim this section of the video. God, I remember that day. Come on. Academic. What? Hang on. There's Andrea. She wouldn't go out with me. Wouldn't give me the time of day. I'm going to find this picture if it kills me.
Did you get Sadie screaming what at me in the video?
Nope, not that I know of. Right now I'm just looking for a picture of the guy who chopped up that 62 Fender Jazz. I'm going to find it, I swear to goodness. If I can recognize the gentleman with his poodle hair, wherever he went to. Oh, there's Holly. Yep, absolutely. I remember her. Let's see. What are you laughing at?
You're like talking about your
high school. What about it?
No, you're looking at your yearbook.
Well, I'm trying to find a picture of this guy with the 62 Jazz, and I see other people I remember, and so I've got a comment. Oh God, there's Ben Ellis's picture. Jeez, he died what, just last year? There's Brian. Yeah, he's a Facebook. Well, let's see. I'm going to edit all this stuff out. Nobody's going to have to live through any of this stuff.
Okay.
Nobody cares anyway. Where is this dude's picture? What the heck?
Is he the one that there was the picture in your thing of pictures of a guitar?
Pictures of a thing of pictures? No, I don't know.
In your box of pictures, you were in like high school?
I'm not sure. Keith Donnelly. Thanks, Spencer, for taking time to make another mail call. I've been missing these videos at the end of the week. Well, I'm glad that you're seeing them again. I'm sorry that you missed them. A follow-up to that question is learning how to work on watches. I also have been thinking about starting to learn to work on watches after watching many hours of your repair videos. My apologies. What would be the minimum set of tools and equipment needed to get started? Would it be better to try and find a local watchmaker to learn from rather than going out and buying loads of tools first?
I give advice?
Absolutely.
I'll wait until you're done reading.
No, I'm done. I mean, I can always jump back in.
I was going to say that when you were starting, Jonathan gave me all the links to Amazon stuff and said buy him this, and this. I did not spend a ton of money on beginner tools.
Yeah, it was stuff like a basic visor, a magnifying visor. You got me a set of
tweezers.
Basic tweezers, basic jeweler's screwdrivers.
Ultrasonic.
You got me that $50 ultra. How much was it?
I think it was like $50.
$50 ultrasonic. It's just one of the bath ultrasonics for like cleaning cases and stuff like that. But if you're willing to move fluids around, you can use it. I have had my real ultrasonic, my Watchmaster, my Bulova Watchmaster for many years, but that I still use that ultrasonic, that one bath ultrasonic all the time. I'd be shocked if there isn't a day that goes by that I don't use it. I've been using it non-stop for like, what, 11 years?
Yeah. Non-stop
for a $50 machine, and it just keeps going. So those are the things I would say. Basic tweezer set, you're not going to want to pay a ton of money. Like, don't go out and spend a ton. Something else you can do too, though I would suggest doing this later, is if you look on eBay for watchmaker lot or watchmaker tools, they're still clearing out lots of old guy watch benches, and there are vintage old tools for not a lot of money out there. but you have to really know what you're looking at. Modern is probably better. It's tweezers, screwdrivers, visor for magnifiers. Oh, and you need, you should get one of the movement holder thingies. It's like yeah, you're gonna need to get a basic movement holder. You should get,
Case back opener?
yeah, definitely a case back opener. You need to get those are one of those things that reward you for getting the right tool. Case back opener is one of those tools you don't want to skimp on, because if you jack up with it, if you make a mistake with a case back opener, you will dig a gigantic gouge in the back of the case. So that's one of those things where, you know, Bergeon or similar is, they're expensive, but that's something you kind of can't mess around with. I'm trying to think of what else. There are these little movement trays. When you take a movement apart, it has different little sections, has a dust cover that goes on it.
The anti-magnet, your green, not the
Oh,
green.
yeah. No, you mean the working mat, the little green
Yeah,
version
whatever
of
the
working
heck
mat.
it
Yeah,
is.
they're like $20. And they're good, they're anti-static.
That's the word.
Anti-static. I mean, there's other stuff that you should look into, like a demagnetizer. You just have to get one. They don't have to be terribly expensive. I think
Your first one came from Egypt, and I was like, "What? Who the hell buys something from
it
Egypt?"
worked for a really long time. That one, it was $18 delivered from Egypt, and that thing worked for years. But a demagnifier is really key. Gotta have a demagnifier.
Magnetizer.
Demagnetizer. Trying to think. Oh, and Rotico. You can't go anywhere without Rotico. That's the green stuff. You should also order finger cuts. Or in a pinch, go down to the first aid aisle at the supermarket and get unpowdered gloves, like latex gloves. Those are real important too. That's all the basics. That should really allow you to do the things you need to do. All you can do is start and figure it out as you go. I mean, because that's what I had to do. The reason I learned the way I did is, again, because of my ADHD. I can't sit in a classroom. I can't listen to somebody blather on at the front. I go completely blank. And then it's just, if it goes on for too much longer, I'm either going to fall asleep or I feel like I'm going to throw up. So I had to teach myself, because there was no real way that anybody else could. But hopefully you're not like me. Hi, Sadie, what's up?
Here, let's leave.
Oh man, I've been trying.
It's really late. I've had a big day, so everybody's running around. They're used to being coming through here because it's kind of the rumpus room over there. Garrett Jansen, talking about the 7A chronograph movement. 7A28, 7A38, 7A48, 7A3673 or something. I don't remember. Such superlative movements. It's a shame Seiko abandoned them. Thank goodness you can get originals for not too much, but yeah. You gave this one some TLC. There's something about the matte dial and bead-blasted case pairing that works so well. Oh yeah, this is about the RAF watch. It's really cool. That bead blasting, it's my favorite watch finish. It really is. Okay, so between the Gen 1 7A28 and the Mac V SOG, as a sole military watch in a collection, which would you pick? Without question, I would pick the first Mac V SOG watch, the 6619 8050 or 8060, I forget. One of those two with the Arabic dial. It's the earliest one. It was the one that was there the earliest. It was the first one before they were before anything even like that was officially issued. It's just those early ones, the guys, they found the ones that they liked that were already being sold, and they got those. And that was the 6619. Unlike the successor, 6119, it has a solid stainless steel case. It has a screw-down case back. The 6619s are great movements. They're great movements. I mean, they're kind of chuggers. I think they're only 18,000 BPH, but they are accurate and solid and steady and uncomplaining, and they just go. So, in my opinion, best of them all is the 6X1980, whatever the heck it is. That's the only Mac VSOG I still have. Every other one I've sold. Who is that? Is that Smacky's? I think that's Smacky's. Yes, hi Kraken. Speedy Paul. Hi Spencer. Oh, this is also about the 7A. This is about the 7A 287049 with the original bracelet that was short and also kind of worn. I would love to see the bracelet restoration. That's kind of tough to restore that one because you're missing metal. It's not like a lot of times with those, it's the pins in the middle because they're separate in between each link. And you can loosen up the things and get the pins out, and you'll find that the pin is halfway worn away. And you can simply replace it with the right gauge steel wire or whatever the heck you want, and then you're good. But the missing metal from side to side, that's a problem, and it's not something I have the ability to fix. It's just nothing I have here. I have one, but I think it might be beyond repair, talking about that bracelet. Lots of slack horizontally between the links. That's the worn pin thing. So if you could even go in and loosen it up and literally turn the pins 180 degrees, and they'll have a fresh surface to be against, and it'll tighten everything up. But if you're going that far, might as well just replace the pins. And you can literally, by the way, you can use literal pins. If you have like pins or sewing needles or something else, a ton of them sitting around, you just have to machine off the edges, put them in there, sink them closed, cut the extras off, flatten it, and Bob's your relative. The main chrono, my watch is the day-date version, minty dial and bezel. The main chrono hand sometimes shivers without going anywhere and doesn't find its home position at 12 o'clock. My reset button doesn't work. It might just be grot, but it could be something worse. But I seem to remember that pulling out the crown to hack will bring the main chrono hand back to its home position, which in my watch is around 2 o'clock. The other registers seem to work fine, so does the lap timer feature. Bezel is stuck. Doesn't really worry me. I'd just love to get the chrono working nicer. I haven't pulled apart yet as I don't really know why it shivers 50% of the time. I reckon removing the hand to put it back at 12 o'clock position would be easy, but it does not address why it started liking the 2 position more or the shivering. Lovely watches. Okay, so here's the deal. When you see that shivering, there are certain canaries in the coal mine with the 7A that say, service me. And one of them is that main sweep not kicking off smartly. Watch just needs a servicing. And it'll be fine. Because all the registers you're telling me working, which means the circuit's good, which means the coil's good, you're telling me your bezel is stuck, and that means it's completely packed with garbage and junk and dust. And it will rotate beautifully if we do a complete case rebuild. The buttons will also work correctly if we do a complete case rebuild. So that's what you need to do. I would not recommend pulling any of the hands and trying to reset things because you're not curing the problem at all. The problem will come back again pretty much immediately, and you're running a pretty good risk of jacking that hand up. They are incredibly lightly built. The aluminum that is used to make up those hands, it's thinner than a soda can, an aluminum soda can. It's so easy to damage those hands. I would leave that alone. I would have the whole thing serviced, have it all done, because then you'll get it back, everything will work, and it'll be light and clean and fast, and your rotating ring will work, it'll be awesome. Another reason you want to get that taken care of too is because when you have that much grot and gruck and stuff in and around and under a case, it holds moisture, and even stainless steel will pit. So it's really kind of important to get that stuff out of there if you wear the watch at all or if you live in a moist environment at all. Bracelets definitely don't stand the test of time. Well, it depends on the bracelet. Those are really tightly built, so they wear a little bit more. I think Seiko missed a trick by not making the crown screw down. Not really, because you've also got the 4 buttons, and they're not screwed on either. And so you've got crystal, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you've got 6 ways for water to get into that thing. You got a screw-down crown wouldn't help us, but always a good idea. Con Swagger. Same watch, Seiko 7828-7049. Wow, great job. This is my grandfather's exact watch. I'm currently looking into restoring it. I'm having a very tough time finding a replacement bracelet for it. Do you know where I can find one or even a compatible strap? Those have, I believe, 20 millimeter hidden lugs. The one thing with those is that Seiko built those with not a lot of clearance underneath that lug. There's not a lot of clearance between where the spring bar goes and the material to go around it. Those bracelets that go with that, they have just a very thin, basically, sheet of steel, and it fits perfectly in there because Seiko designed the watch and the bracelet together. They go together. If you get a thin, like unpadded leather strap, that'll work. Nylon strap, not like a thick NATO or a Zulu. If you get, they used to call them ribbon straps, or there's another word, grosgrain, Grosgrain. Those are like the single loop straps that have like the regimental colors and stuff on it. That's thin enough to do it. As for finding a replacement bracelet, the only way to really find one is to look for one of those watches, like on eBay, unrestored, dirty, and for not a lot of money, or at least a low opening bid, preferably non-working maybe, but if it has a bracelet, get that in. Juka juka juka. Jayco. Really? I've never been able to answer this question before. I can't imagine I'm going to be able to answer it now. Jayco, so what would you have if you could have only 3 watches? Well, the first watch will be 1983 Fender 62 reissue, the ones made very late at the Fullerton factory.
The frig is wrong with you?
What do you mean?
I don't know. You get like these ideas in your head.
Honey,
and
I've been thinking about a Fullerton Strat for years, ever since I read
No,
about
I know,
doing
but
that.
then the idea falls back into your head, and then that's all you think about.
You know, what are you going to do? Watches. 3 watches. You know, unfortunately, I'm in a situation where I have family watches that trump a lot of things. So I've got, like, you know, my Uncle Dick's Rolex 1016 Explorer.
So then why don't we take those out of the question? Because, I mean, they're heirlooms. So
Okay, so family watches don't...
they don't count.
Only 3 watches. Love 6139s as I do, no. 6138s, I'd keep my slide rule. I don't know if that would make one of the 3. My Rolex sub, it will stay here. And that's not a family watch, that's mine. So that's one, I guess. I think my Super 6105, the one that I got that has the 6309 handset, that's a watch. Okay, so there's 2. So now I have 2 divers.
I thought you were into dress watches all of a sudden.
Well, yeah, it's because they're affordable and there's so many options. I mean,
Well, no, I'm saying why aren't you picking a dress watch if you're like...
because I know me, I don't know that I'd wear it. I'm just thinking, I guess I haven't really thought about those people are pretty late to be out biking. Gosh, it's getting dark. It is the 3rd one. What would the 3rd one be? It's either got to be a chronograph or a dive watch. I say my slide rule. 6138, 7000.
Wait, I thought you already said that.
Did I?
Yes.
I did? No, I didn't. I said my Rolex Submariner.
Right.
I said I said my 6105 8110 with the 6309 handset, and I'll say my slide rule.
I
That's-
never would
those-
have guessed.
You know, there was things I could live with, though I could make a very strong case for that the A829 astronaut watch. That's a cool watch. Or my Omega, not the Jedi, it's the other one. I don't know. I can't tell. It's impossible. I mean, I think it'd be easier to say one watch. And for that, I don't know.
It would be easier to say one.
Well, I just keep coming back to the Rolex. It's like, you know, but I have to ignore the money too, because these watches are all worth different bits of money. I don't know. I always say, I'll think about it and get back to you, but I never do. I never get back to anyone. I never think about it. So that's, I'm lying if I say that I'm going to, but it's nice to feel that I'm going to do something about it. Who knows? Anyway, that's it, folks. I'm done. No more. And that's the end of the weekend. I'm going to spend the rest of the weekend finishing the rest of that garage, and that should be fun. Thank you all very much. Bye-bye.